Okay, hello everyone. My name is Pasya Kurniansyah, with the student ID 221-202-1118 and 0. And on this occasion, I will explain to you about my booklet, which is have the title is Technology Integration in Classroom with ID. So for the table of contents of this booklet is in the chapter 1. The first section is the introduction, the importance of IDT and the the connection with the Indonesian educational context. And the third section is the objective and also the research question. And for the chapter 2 is the historical context of IDT and also the explanation of frameworks and model in IDT. And the chapter 3 is the lesson plan implementation and also the analysis of the lessons plans. And for the chapter 4 is the conclusion on also the recommendations and also the suggestion, the findings, and also the future direction. And we move to the first chapter is the introduction. In educational context, the IDT or English instructional design and technology have the important values, especially when it comes to integrating technology into the classroom. This chapter provides the framework for effective technology integration and also describe a clear and scaffolded pedagogy and makes the case for the importance of the IT. This booklet also examine the findings of earlier research and examine the initial information obtained from the teacher lesson plan, interview, and surveys. And for the importance of the IDT is in order to maximize the way what knowledge is presented and maintained. IDT now includes a range of digital tools, educational approaches, and learning theories. With the growth of digital learning environments, like the online courses, the learning platforms, mobile apps, and virtual classrooms, like like we usually use in the classroom, such as Kahoot, Precis, or anything technology else. This trend is particularly apparent. Furthermore, IDT is using data analytics and artificial intelligence more and more to improve educational outcomes, increase learner engagement, and tailor learning experience. It is essential to learn about IDT for several reasons. For the first one, it would bring the teachers tools they need to create and carry out the successful learning programs that meet the needs of a wide range of students. Um, on the next one is in a world where digital literacy is crucial or very important, incorporating technology into instructional design promotes a very participatory and cooperative learning environment. So, in according to Piaget in 1976 and Vygotsky in 1978, IDT is based on several existing basic theory, including constructivism, cognitivism, and behaviorism. So the constructivism emphasized the students' active participation in constructing their own understanding. This theory suggests that is formed through experience and interaction with the environment. And the other way, cognitivism, according to Mayer in 2005, focuses on the mental process involved in learning, focusing on the importance of understanding how information is processed. So for the last one is behaviorism, on the other hand, emphasize the recent research has explored the integration of technology within the IDT framework, demonstrating also the potential use to improve the student participation and learning outcomes. So for the recent research, A study by K and Shi in 2020 found that technology enhanced instructional design significantly, improved students' critical thinking skills similarly. And for the research by Liu et al. In 2021 or in 2021 shows that interactive learning environment designed with the IDT principle offering the higher levels of student motivation and collaboration. So here is the question that hopefully answered in this booklet. For the first one is, how is technology being used to improve the learning outcome in some instructional design practice? And second one, which IDT based teaching techniques are best for enhancing students' interest in learning? And the third one is the which program are the beneficial for teachers looking to include cutting-edge instructional design that successfully incorporate technology into their lesson. So for the objective that hopefully can be stated in the booklet is identify the way of how technology is incorporated into current instructional design approaches. And also the second one is assessing the effectiveness of different IDT-based teaching techniques. And the third one, offering beneficial recommendation on how teachers might use creative design programs to improve their instruction. And we move to the chapter 2, is the historical context of IDT. The historical context of IDT is divided into three periods in nine in 900 and until the 1950s, and also the second one is the 1916 in on until the 1980s, and also the 2000 until present. Okay, for the 900 until 1950s is the early foundation of IDT, when educators began to formalize the study of teaching and learning. Influential educational figures such as John Dewey emphasized the experiential learning, advocating education that related to students' real-life experience. This period also saw the rise of behaviorism, which focused on observable behavior and the idea that learning could be shaped through reinforcement and conditioning. So for the framework of B.F. Skinner on program instruction in the 1950s, laid the foundation for systematic instructional design, emphasizing the clear objective and feedback. And for the 1960 and 19 until 1980s, this is the rise of the technology. The 1960s were the beginning for significant changes in IDT, with the with the introduction of media and technology into the classroom. The availability of an audiovisual materials such as film, strips, slides, and later video recording began to transform teaching and learning practice. The rise of computer-assisted instruction and CAI in the 1980s was an important milestone in the development of education and IDT. Programs that enable individualized learning experience became popular, providing immediate feedback to the students and enabling self-directed learning, or as we know is STL. This technological advance shift the focus from traditional rote learning to more interactive and engaging learning methods. And for the edition is constructivism in 1990s. With the rise of constructivism in 1990s, the focus of IDT began to shift from the teacher-centered methodologies to student-centered approaches, which is there is a substitution from the teachers to the students. Educational theorists such as Jerome Bruner and Lev Vygotsky emphasized the importance of social interaction and collaborative learning in constructing knowledge. During this period, the internet began to reshape the way education was viewed. Online learning platforms and resources expanded access to information and learning opportunities, allowing for greater flexibility and personalization in education. The integration of technology into education became increasingly recognized as essential to prepare students for a rapidly evolving world. And for the last is the 20s until the present. This is the digital age and beyond. The 21st century has witnessed the further evolution of IDT, characterized by the proliferation of digital technologies and the emergence or the urgence of multimedia learning spaces. Also, the widespread of mobile devices, social media, and cloud computing has changed the way the students and educators or the teachers interact with content and each other. According to Bates in 2019, the outlook on education has evolved to integrate blended learning, shared classroom, and massive open online courses or MOOCs, as well as providing the diverse learning pathways. And we move to the next section is the framework of IDT. In IDT, there are many frameworks that can be used as the references for designing the good lesson plan. So for the first one is the TPEC or technological, pedagogical, and content learning. Sorry, knowledge. The three main types of knowledge, which is the technological knowledge, pedagogical knowledge, and also the content knowledge, are interconnected to each other. According to the TPEC framework, it shows how important it is to comprehend how different domains interact in order to develop efficient teaching strategies. In AIDT context, according to Rafi and Kohler MJ in 2006, TPEC assisted teachers in creating lessons that successfully integrating technology with the content knowledge and pedagogical techniques, especially when teaching language the sorry, especially when teaching English language competency. So for the second one is the summer framework or SAMR, substitution, augmentation, modification, and the definition is the identity framework that highlight the four important levels, which is the four levels that I mentioned above. The more valuable and effective language learning are made possible by this model. But according to Dura, which is the founder of this framework, the learning the, le the learning experience are helped by this model to gradually improve their teaching methods and learning objectives through the technology. So for the substitution section, sorry, for the substitution section, it means by the traditional tools are directly replaced by technology that, and the second one is the augmentation. This is the technology that replaces but improve the functionality. And for the third one is the modification. This is a substantial work. The design is made possible by the technology. And the last one is the redefinition. According to the technology, previously unthinkable now can be created. And now the third one is the community of inquiry framework. So for the first one of the community of inquiry framework is the social presence, which means the participants' capacity for emotion and social interaction. And the second one is the cognitive presence, is the capability of the students to create and validate meaning via the discussion and also the introspection. So, And the third one is the encouragement and the guidance of social and cognitive process to produce the significant learning results is known as the teaching presence. So we move to the IDT models. We have a AD model, SAM model, and Deacon Carey model. For the first one is the ADDIE model or ADDI model. ADDIE model is the instructional design models that mostly used for the teachers as their instructional design models. It consists of 5 phases that we face in this model. So for the first one is analysis. Analysis phase sorry, I mean the analysis phases determine the learner's learning objective, needs, and traits. So for the design is in the designing phases, teachers or the educators create the learning goals, teaching plans, and evaluation techniques. And for the development phase is the phase that the teachers or the educators construct and put together the educational resource and information. And the implementation or application were the phases that the teachers apply and provide students with the educational materials that designed before. And then for the last phase is the evaluation. Evaluation phase were the stage that instruction effectiveness and make any required modification for the next lesson plan. So according to Molenda in 2003, the AD models provides a thorough method that guarantees each aspect for the instructional design process in taken into account, making it flexible enough to be used in a variety of educational contexts, including language instruction. So we move to the second one is the SAM model. The SAM or successive approximation model is the instructional model that focuses on rapid prototype and ongoing feedback through the 3 primary phases, which is the preparation, iterative design, and iterative development. So for the preparation itself, is the stages that gather the information and establish the groundwork of the project. And the second one is the iterative design. These stages create the early prototypes while soliciting feedback and from the others and making continuous adjustment. For the third one or the last one is the iterative development. Iterative development uses the feedbacks and testing cycles to continuously improve the teaching materials. Also, according to the Puentedura in 2014, emphasizes that SAM is the appropriate for incorporating technology into language teaching since it especially helpful in dynamic settings where quick modification on learning input are very crucial. And for the last is the Deacon carry model. By using a system approach to instructional design, the Deacon carry model highlights the connection between the different elements of the learning process. So for the steps of this Deacon carry model is so for the first one is the identify instructional goals. Identify instructional goals, which means specify what students are expected to accomplish. And for the second one, is perform an instructional analysis to ascertain the abilities and information needed to achieve the objectives. And the third one is to examine students and contexts. Recognize the traits of both students and the classroom. And for the next one is to provide assessment instrument, which is provide instrument to gauge students' performance. And for the last one, this is to create and develop instruction, which means produce educational resource and exercises. Sorry, for the exercises. And for this booklet, I use the AD models for my instru for my instructional design models because I have a few reasons for supporting the choice of these models for my lesson plan. For the first one is the analysis. One of the most important aspects of analysis phase is identifying the target audience and learning objective. You must analyze the needs of the students and what's the classroom needs for the material. And the second one is the design. It is necessary to plan out the specific activities, including instructional strategies like communicative language instructional and text tips like role playing, group projects, and etc. Which should also take the which which should also take it into account the design phase. For the development, including resources and materials such as quizzes and YouTube videos that I will show in my lesson plan in chapter 3, shows that you shows that I have to prepare the information and instruments required for teaching. And also the implementation, part of the implementation phase, the structured lesson stage, pre-activity, main activity, and post-activity will be demonstrate how the lesson will be presented. For the evaluation, assessment through activities and presentations suggest the evaluation of student understanding and involvement. Even when it isn't expressed explicitly, it can be used after the session. So we move the so move we, sorry we move to the chapter 3. This is my lesson plan based on the TEFL course. Uh, I follow the instruction of the TEFL course. This is the this is included three phases, which is the pre-activity, main activity, and post-activity. So for the objective first, I use the small group works, which is the objective is students are able to collaborate to identify the correct formula of simple present tense and able to create the sentences, both simple present tense and make it into the conversation. And for the second one is the transcription, which means the students are able to understand on the formulation of simple present tense. And for the B section is for the levels is the seventh grade students of junior high school. For the teaching method, I use the communicative language teaching for make a more communicative conversation between the teachers and the students. And for the teaching techniques, I use the small or pair group work for playing games and the competition. So for the activity, as usual, I use the greeting, attendance, and also the perception. In for the for the time is the 5 minutes. So for the main activity, teachers explain the simple present tense formula and show the example. So for the second one, I command the students make their own sentence about simple present tense and write on the board. And for the third one, teachers and students watching the video about the dialogue of simple present tense together. And for the main activity, I will divide the students into the pair of small groups, and each pairs of groups will play the games about simple present tense with quizzes. And for preventing that, many schools that prohibiting the students to bring the electronic devices, I will use the computer room of the schools to implementing my technology into the classroom. So each pair of groups will play the games about the simple present tense with the quizzes on their own computer for each groups. And the next is each pair of groups receive the worksheet after we use the quizzes. Each pair of group receive the worksheet, and and then teacher asks to the students to make a simple conversation using the simple present tense. And the last one is the students pair of group present the conversation in the front of the class. So for the post activity, I will conclude the lesson, such as what we learned today, and the students will give the feedbacks. And the last one, we're gonna end up the class. Okay, and this first one, this is the teaching media. Sorry for the learning media. I use the whiteboard, board marker, and the YouTube video. This is the example of the videos that I will implement and the quizzes that I will implement also. Okay, and based on the lesson plan above, it seems that the preceding lesson plan more closely conforms to the EIDT models. And here's the analysis. So for the first one is the analysis. The lesson plan properly defined the target audience, which is the seventh grade students, and set explicit learning objective during the analysis process. And for the design, the lesson plan is organized activity outline and instructional strategies that selected are clear example of the design phase. And for the development phase for the lesson plan outline the media and learning process, including the quizzes platform, YouTube videos, and the whiteboard. And also for the implementation, the lesson plans detail activities that sequence reflects and the implementation phase. To provide a seamless delivery of the material, the lesson plans has divided the class into pre-activity, the main activity, and post-activity stages. And for the last is the evaluation. The evaluation component can be deduced from the activities in which students participate in games and present their chats. And, and for the chapter 4, we move to the conclusion. This is the this is the conclusion of the chapter 4, which is the last chapter. Conclusion is the integration of instructional design and technology in the context of teaching English has been examined in this booklet. The models and the framework covered, including the AD, Summer, and TPAC. And these theories are put into practice the lesson plan, which show how technology can improve the instruction of basic language skills like the simple present tense. In addition to supporting the variety of learning styles, the use of interactive tools such as quizzes, multimedia materials, and collaborative activities creates a more lively learning atmosphere in the classroom. And for the suggestion, this is the suggestion of the for this booklet and and also the future direction, with chance to improve teaching and learning through the creative methods. The future of language, the IDT, sorry, seems seems very bright. Teachers may establish more interesting and productive language learning environment by adaptive learning, sorry, encouraging teamwork, integrating AI, encouraging digital literacy, and gamifying the process. And this is the references that I found when I made the booklet, and this is the attachment. Okay, I think that's all for my online presentation. I'm really sorry that that if you guys found the words that maybe can be wrong. And thank you for the attention. Thank you and goodbye.